You're doing it.
Doing what?
Using your imagination, Peter.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Before we get to today's deck, I just want to shout out my patrons over at patreon.com for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. All of my Brew Crew Elite tier members, Yuck Foozy, Noah Vincent, Brittany, Bob Steele, and especially our sponsored partner, Terrence Rohrbach. You guys are greatly appreciated. If you guys want to help support the channel over on Patreon, that's patreon.com/quarantinedcapricorn. With that out of the way, today's deck is called Corpse Feast. And the idea here is we're trying to break a new card, or get as close to breaking as possible, a new card that came out in March of the Machine Aftermath. And we had some surprisingly good results. I actually think this archetype is really, really cool. And I'm super surprised with just how many wins we got and some of the insane board states that we can generate with this deck. I suggest you try it out for sure. Before we get to that, make sure you like the video if you can, subscribe if you haven't already. All that stuff really helps the channel grow, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, catch us live over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. And now let's check out the deck. Alright, so this deck is pretty sick. I'm kind of excited with how it turned out, to be completely honest. So the idea here is we're trying to break, or come as close to breaking as possible, a new card that was introduced in March of the Machine, the Aftermath, and that's Feast of the Victorious Dead. 1 black and 1 white for an enchantment, and at the beginning of your end step, if 1 or more creatures died this turn, you gain that much life and distribute that many +1/+1 counters among creatures you control. So in order to get the most value off this card, you want tons of creatures to be dying, but you also want creatures to be left over to buff up. And you don't want to just be stuck with like 1 creature to buff up, because then if your opponent has removal, they remove that one thing and all the value you got off the Feast of the Victorious Dead is kind of put to waste. So we want to have creatures that are constantly dying, generating tons of creatures so that we're getting tons of triggers off this, but we also want to kind of still keep a somewhat wide board that we can distribute counters onto and really just get the most out of this card. So we're going to start at the bottom of the curve and go over all of the card selections. First up, we've got 4 Scorn-Blade Berserkers. This is great because we can sacrifice it at any time to draw a card, and that will trigger the Feast of the Victorious Dead at the end of turn. It's also something that can stack up counters if it's still on the field, which is nice, but usually we're going to use this to trigger the Feast, and we're also going to get some extra value off the backup by putting a counter on something, swinging in, and post-combat sacking that thing to get some more value off Feast of the Victorious Dead. So there's a lot of ways to utilize this card, and also just to help dig deeper into things we need to get out of our deck. We've also got 4 Corrupted Conviction. This is another way for us to sacrifice creatures, get value off of the sacrifice by drawing 2 cards, but then also get another trigger off the Feast. Moving on into the 2-drop slot, we have the bread and butter of the deck, which is Skrelv's Hive. 2 mana for an enchantment. It's got to pump out a might token every single turn while also dealing 1 damage to us. So we're building up a huge board presence of these mights that when we swing in, they're just 1/1s, so our opponent's going to block and kill a bunch of them, but some of them are going to get through. And the idea here is all of our mights that die in combat swinging in are going to trigger our Feast. The Feast is going to gain us life for all of the mights that die, and help gain us back the life that we lose making the mights to the Skrelv's Hive to begin with. So it's this perfect sort of engine where we're gaining back the life we're losing to the Hive. We're using the Hive to get more creatures that are going to die and trigger the Feast and put counters on the ones that survive. And we're able to grow a board presence of things that are just swinging through and getting through for crazy amounts of damage, while also gaining life and just growing our creatures in general. To go alongside that, we have 3 Jadar, Ghoulcaller of Nephalia. And this kind of works in a similar way, where every single turn we'll get another zombie with Decayed, and that zombie will die at the end of combat after it swings, and then it'll trigger the feast for another point at the end of turn. We'll gain another point of life. We'll get to put a counter on something, whether that be the Jadar itself, since we know for sure we have a creature that's sticking on the board in the form of Jadar. Or maybe we put it on a Might token, or maybe we put it on some other creature that we haven't gotten around to talking to yet. We've also got one Invasion of Mercadia, because it does help us discard and draw, sift through our deck for things we need. But the main thing here is, if we get the opportunity to flip this into the Kirin Flamerite, we can make 2 more tokens every turn, give our whole board haste, which is really good in conjunction with the Hive, because the token will be made at our upkeep, so that token will get haste as well, and grow whenever we use the Kirin Flamerite. And we can just keep using this, build our board, and again, when we're swinging in with a board full of creatures, even if they block a bunch of them and kill them all in combat, all of those deaths are going to trigger our feast and get us a bunch of value over time. So I think the Kirin Flamerite is worth at least having 1 copy of this here. We've got 4 Rite of Oblivion as our only removal source. Now, even though this will exile the opponent's thing, and so that won't count as destroy or death and trigger the feast, the thing that we sacrifice on our side will trigger it. And this is a way to fit more removal into the deck for less slots, because we really need the majority of our deck to focus on making token creatures, going wide, having creatures that are continuously going to die every turn. So being able to fit more removal spells into less slots so that we can save those slots for cards that are going to make those token creatures is really important. So Rite of Oblivion, being able to flash it back and use it a second time, it's a way to fit kind of 8 removal slots into just a 4-card package, which is really nice. Moving on to our 3-drop slots, we get to the rest of our bread and butter. We've got 4 Urabrask's Forge. This is going to make a token every turn. Token's going to get bigger and bigger, and then when it dies, it's going to trigger Feast of the Victorious Dead for another point. So we're seeing sort of a pattern here of, we've got cards like Jadar, Urabrask Forge, and Lagomos, which is another 3-drop. It's a 1/3 legendary creature though, and this will make a 2/1 every single turn that swings in. So all 3 of these cards are going to make creatures every turn. Those creatures are going to die that turn, but then you'll get to make another one the next turn. So all of these things will kind of trigger Feast of the Victorious Dead without us losing any value or putting creatures in the graveyard that we'd otherwise be able to keep around to utilize on other turns. So it's just insane value to try and work these sort of creature engines that give you a creature that die at end of turn, and sort of synergizing them with the Feast of the Victorious Dead. We've also got 4 wedding announcements for similar fashion. It's going to create 1/1 tokens for us to sacrifice, or just run into our opponent's board, and whenever they die, it's going to trigger the feast. So everything in the deck is just making tons of tokens, and we just slam all of our tokens into our opponent's head. And the great part about this deck is, no matter what he blocks, we're going to get all this value off the feast. We're going to gain a bunch of life so that we can better race them, and we're going to distribute a bunch of counters and potentially be able to block and counterattack more effectively and make combat really difficult for our opponent. We've also got 3 Ob Nixilis the Adversary, because it's just insane. First of all, with Urabrask's Forge, if it ever gets to the point where the Forge token's a 7/1, we can just sacrifice the Forge token to an Ob Nixilis and make a copy that can immediately ultimate, which is insane. Target player draws 7 cards, loses 7 life. Sometimes we can win the game outright by targeting our opponent with this, but a lot of times we're going to have so much life from Feast of the Victorious Dead that we could just target ourselves and go from like 36 life to 29, whoopee, and draw 7 cards with a full new grip of cards in our hand. We can just flood the board with value, and it can get kinda wild. But also just making devil tokens that we can sacrifice is really good. Getting extra damage in with the +1 is really good. Ob Nixilis is just really awesome in this deck. We've also got just 1 Kaya Geist Hunter. This can generate some value for us with the +1, more so than most decks that might try to use her. The counter is going to matter because it's going to contribute to creatures we're already putting counters on with Feast of the Victorious Dead, so it makes the creature even bigger. And the Death Touch is good because we're just swinging in with all of these creatures like Mites and, you know, zombie tokens and the 1/1s from the Wedding Announcement, all these little creatures that they're probably going to block and kill anyway. But then the Death Touch just makes them even more problematic for our opponent. But the -2 is where Kaya shines here. I still don't think it's worth adding more than just one copy because you never want to draw a second one in your hand or whatever when you're trying to curve out earlier in the game. This is more of a card you'll drop later on, maybe turn 5 alongside another 2-drop or something like that, just to like exponentially generate more value. If you have the Kaya in play and you -2 the same turn that you're going to cast an Ob Nixilis, you'll get another token. The same turn that your Forge is going to trigger with a 6/1, you're going to get 2 6/1s. Like, all of your things that are making token creatures for the turn are just going to double the turn that you -2 the Kaya. And since most of the things we have in the deck that are making token creatures are making them without us having to spend mana that turn, they're all permanents we get onto the field, and they recursively generate tokens every single turn, it's very easy to just play the Kaya -2 on a board full of things that are just going to make a bunch of tokens for free, you know, and just really go off with that. So that's really good. And then obviously if we get to -6 and ultimate her, she can be pretty good here too, because we're filling up the graveyard on both of our sides, and we'll just get a ton of spirit tokens, which will be really nice. We've also got one Mondrak for similar reasons as the Kaya. I think it's better to have one Mondrak and one Kaya rather than 2 of either of these, because there are niche circumstances where we can have both out at the same time instead of being, you know, having a second legendary in our hands that we can't play. And the Mondrak being able to double all of our tokens is also really, really awesome. So absolutely worth the include, and we can put an indestructible counter on Mondrak by sacrificing some of our creatures that are going to die anyway, like the Forge tokens or the zombie tokens with Decayed or Lagomos' tokens or things like that. So the deck is pretty rad. It just throws tokens at our opponent's head every single turn, except every time our opponent blocks. And I know I've said this already a couple times in this deck tech, but every single time we're getting all this extra value of Feast, and we're growing our guys that are left behind super huge to the point where our opponent has a hard time interacting with them in combat. They can't really block or attack into them very effectively, and they just start to take over the game, and all the while we're still making more and more tokens every turn. So it's kind of nutty. The deck was surprisingly good and got surprisingly cool wins, and it's super fun to play. So I'll definitely be iterating on this in the future and making new versions of this, because I think it's a really cool archetype, but I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, this is the deck, and let's check out the games. One land. No. Sure. I guess. What do we put back? I guess Invasion? Yes. Alright, Jadar is out, the dude is out. Shenanny nanny nanny. Go for the throat the Jadar, sure. Swing with just the 1/1. We'll wait until we have Feast on the board before we swing with the 2/2. Wedding Announcement. Swing, swing. Cut down the Lagomos. Okie doke. Hive. Wait. It went in the wrong order? I have to full control it? That's fucking lame. That makes me not even want to play this deck if I have to full control it every time. Three token. Double the amount of tokens.
This time I brought backup.
Smash. We gotta go into full control. It's so ridiculous. Order the triggers. Put him on that. Alright, so Feast of the Victorious Dead is meant to go with Skrelv's Hive.
Next time,
It's just meant to be. It's just meant to be. I could just kill it and make sure I get in for the damage. I don't think I need to. Alright. Oh, wait a minute. Feast triggers when you kill their creatures. Not just yours. That's sick.
Emotions are distractions. Focus on the facts. Become subdued.
Alright, we win. Feast is sick with Skrelv's Hive. See how this deck does. Come on, red mana. Show me all that red mana. I think that'll be best first. We want a body we can put counters on. Doesn't block. Ugh, it always orders them wrong. It's really annoying. We'll go braids. Do that one. Alright. That's annoying. I just realized why it isn't working. We don't even get a feast trigger unless something died prior to the beginning of our end step. Which is the worst. Well, that's lame. It's so lame the way it works. As long as something dies during our turn, a bunch of other things can die at beginning of end step, and it will all count if you stack them properly. It's just there's no trigger to stack unless something dies earlier in the turn. which makes things kind of difficult. I wasn't explaining it to you, Finn. I was explaining it to the stream. You think you're the only person in here? Says I have 25 viewers. I'm at 27 now. That was lame. But at least we have a dead creature now.
I like a plane where I can stick to the shadows. Oh, give up already. You're outnumbered.
Okay. Would you like to do it again? Apparently you would. Alright, Feast goes last. Lighting Announcement can go second to last. Do it like that, because why not? Swinging for 6, 7, 8, 9. $20 next turn? Yeah, we're swinging for 20.
I'll find another way.
Unless he's got Farewell. Might have Farewell. Alright, well, we got lethal next turn. What you got, buddy? Another Feast. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I can play literally everything. None of it matters. If he blocks this and gains 7, defeats the whole point, right? I guess I just need to go with everything then. Oh my god. Put you last. Put you last. Oh my god! This looks unfortunate. We'll keep it though. Feast and Hive together is pretty good. If they don't have enchantment removal, and we can just stay alive long enough, we build up that value, and it's nice. Spirited Companion. Wedding Announcement. Feast is such a good card to pair up with Skrelv's Hive, because we gain the life to offset it as well. Yes, block me. Block me. So sick. So insane. High 5-5. Has to destroy the feast. Good god. Ossification the token. That's fine. We don't have any red still. Let's just get the Kaya out. We will uptick, put a counter on the might. Put the Kaya at 4 loyalty. Okay. We will gain some life. Death touch until end of turn. Counter on you.
I got plenty.
Do some of that. Seems pretty okay. We
Fighting
will
the undead is
swing.
my specialty.
Wandering Emperor.
You started this fight, but I'm going to end it.
Makes it 2/2.
We
Sure.
must protect the people.
Do I want the draw or do I want the feast activation? Guess I want the feast activation, right? Just to be because it will block well. Maybe I should have put one counter on it and one on something else. Probably. Ooh, hits the Kaya straight up.
Guards, to me.
Ellis Ilkor might be a good one in this deck. I can't believe we have no red and we're still making this work. I mean, I guess we just smash with everything, right? Dude. Wait, what? Oh, I have to pick 4. I get you. Oh my god. Feast is so sick. As long as you just keep making dudes, it just gets way out of hand.
Back to wandering. We must protect the people.
Like, we're color screwed off our red, and we're still doing so much. What you got for me? Chump, chump, chump. Welcome to Earth. Nine life, bunch of 9/9s. It's all good. It's all good. All right, well, we'll just keep going. We'll just keep cracking. Short. Gonna eat, I assume, one of the Skrelvs.
I hope you're ready
One of the mites.
to lose. This is what you get for hurting my people.
Gotta block something, buddy. You're gonna do 4 damage to it. Okay. Wait, what? Why would you double block it? Why wouldn't you block it with a token, a 3/3 token? I am so confused. I am the most confused human. Yeah, I know. I'm in the middle of a game, so there's nothing I can do about it.
I guess that's that.
Guards, to me.
Resplendent.
I won't let a few thugs threaten this city. This is my city, and I'm going to protect it.
Alright, here we go. Can't believe we're on that little amount of mana. Now our opponent's going to be like, wait, you have red mana? It's just so ridiculous. We'll do that, and then we'll sack one to the Ob Nixilis after he blocks. Sure. Goodbye. I'm gonna fill up your hand though. So there's that.
Don't stand with me. You're my enemy.
Oh my god. Ob's really sick in this deck too because we gain so much life with the feast. This is a bit weird. But we are on the draw, so I think I'm gonna try it. If we get lucky and get an untapped land in the first 2 cards, we'll still be able to do our thing. Alright, we'll play the Scorn-Blade Berserker on itself, force our opponent to have to use their removal on it. Which means it's going to take them longer to do the same amount of damage to us. Which is good. Essentially gives us a whole extra turn against them. Alright, we will discard. I don't think the Forge is going to be worth very much at all against mono red. So we'll get rid of that. If we top deck a land, we'll play Mondrak. He'll have to use a lot to deal with it. If we don't, we'll just play the Wedding Announcement, start accumulating value that way. Now if he swings, it means he's got direct damage to follow it up with. I think it's better to keep Mondrak alive for a whole turn and get some extra triggers before we trade it for his creature and his direct damage. Unless he's got 2 removal spells in his hand. Oh, he's got a Stoke the Flames. But it does cost him that he can't swing in. Alright, we'll do it like this. Sword of Once and Future. Interesting. No blocks. Corrupted Conviction. Swing at Invasion of Mercadia. We're gonna go. Oh, man, we only have one black source. I didn't realize that. I did not realize that. That's a problem. Guess we'll do it like this. Play the wedding announcement. Move to end. We'll generate the tokens first, and then we'll get the counter off of Feast. Very nice. I don't know if you can come back from this. You have pretty effective life gain. Okay. Don't have any way to trigger. Actually, no, that's not gonna work. That's okay. We'll just pass the turn, make some big boys. Hello, Senior Dan. Thank you. This has gotta be the slowest mono red player I've ever seen in my life. Don't understand. Sack you. Draw some cards. Play you. Play you. And I think we pretty much got him at this point. Lightning strike, sure. do this to trigger a Feast of the Victorious Dead. None of them are lightning strikeable. We gain 2 life. If I wanted to, I could have sacked one of these instead. We would have gained 4 life instead of 2. So if I was worried about actually dying to direct damage, that would have been what I did. This looks fine. We'll keep it. We'll start with the Sanctum. Big Dumb Bunny. Big Dumb Bunny. We'll play a Hive. With a little bit of luck, we'll top deck a land, and then we'll get to do some real good. There we go. Wedding Announcement or Forge? I think Wedding Announcement. Oh, I thought he was going to counter it for sure. Esper Legends? He's got an island there. Oh god, he's playing Domain. Slogger. Black, green, blue. Is he just playing the tower as a dual land? Seems kind of crazy. I want the card. Come on, Big Dumb Bunny. Teachings. Alright. Looks like we got some stuff here. I think we want to get you down. Swing, swing. Sure. Take you out. Seems fine. Definitely got to start drawing some cards though. Come on, Big Dumb Bunny. Show me them floppy ears. Deeproot Wayfinder. Alright. We're going to get another token from the Hive, and he's apparently going to scoop. We'll keep it. Hive on 2. Ob or Kaya on 3 seems pretty good. If we can Kaya on 3, and then Ob on 4 after we down tick a Kaya, that would be insane. No dice. Negate, negate, negate. He's just gonna counter everything. Alright. Try and land a Kaya. We want to get to 4 mana with the Hive and the Jadar still in our hand, because he won't be able to counter both of them. Fading Hope the Jadar. And we get to land the Skrelv. Skrelv's better than the Jadar. Against blue. Tolarian Terror. That's fine. Get rid of the Terror. Does he have something to save it? He does not. Sick. Get out of here. Naughty, haughty. We're gonna do it this way. Down tick, up tick. Rite of Oblivion. Goodbye, haughty Jin. Alright, Invasion of Mercadia. We're actually going to dump the Jadar here. Oh, he's going to negate it. Alright. Take two. Take two more. We're gonna pop you to draw. And we'll play the Jadar. Alright. Seems pretty good. Yeah, we got you. We got you, all the master. This hand is a little weird. We're gonna try it. Got Wedding Announcement and Corrupted Conviction, so theoretically we should be able to get to the rest of the cards we need. Looks like we're up against Grixis with Otherworldly Gaze. Wedding Announcement comes down. Maybe someday we'll get red mana. Someday. Siphon Insight. Very nice. We like. What else would you like from me, sir? Oh, is that what you want? I would like to draw red mana, please. Let's attack. Let's draw some cards. Give me red land. A red land. Insult to injury. I mean, we probably have to try to play the Wedding Announcement, right? Regardless of the fact that we need red next turn. So we gotta do it like that. It's very unfortunate. No counter spells from our Grixis player, though. Very surprising. Just Siphon Insights for days. I don't know if my cards are going to be very useful for you. Playing my own feast against me. How rude. How rude. I guess we try to swing. See if we can get him to use removal on the 1/1. See if we can land the Dominus. If we do, we get 4 1/1s this turn. Which will put us at a total of 5, including this guy. Oh man. And we buff up to 2/2s. That's a board. Who needs red? Oh boy. He thinks he's gonna combo off. You know what I think? I think not on my watch, buddy. That's what I think. Hiya. You got a 1. Sure, we'll play land. Why not? Could have sacked those 2 tokens to the Mondrak to put an indestructible counter on it. But nah, we'll just let it go. I mean, everything else is going to win the game for us, right? Infernal Grasp. There we go. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.